What do rural Vietnamese cemeteries look like, and why do some graves cost nearly $29,000? Stick around. This is a side of Vietnam that rarely makes it onto camera.
Hello everyone, I'm Thai, 28 years old, living in the countryside of Vietnam. In rural areas of Vietnam, you can easily come across small grocery stores like this one. Although not large, they still sell all kinds of daily essential goods and are a familiar stopping point for the villagers. Some boxes of cookies are covered with a thin layer of dust from being displayed for a long time. However, that doesn't mean they've gone bad. Most of the products are still within their expiration date and can be used normally. These are incense sticks. Vietnamese people burn incense to show reverence, remember their ancestors and loved ones who have passed away, and pray for peace, health, and good fortune for their family. In total, the two items cost only about 0.80 USD. On both sides of the road are agricultural crops. This type of plant is called cassava. In Vietnam, most farmers harvest it after about 9 to 10 months, depending on the variety, soil conditions, and intended use. Harvesting too early can result in small tubers with little starch, while leaving it too long can cause the tubers to become fibrous or decline in quality. This is where the deceased rest after their life's journey. For Vietnamese people, a cemetery is not just a burial place, but also a place that preserves memories, feelings, and the connection between generations within a family. Family members often return here to light a stick of incense, offer flowers, tidy up the grave, and spend quiet moments in remembrance. These simple acts express filial piety, gratitude, and the belief that love for family always remains even after life has ended. Just 3 years later, some of the tiled sections have already peeled off and fallen away, leaving signs of deterioration on the resting place. These graves were once built and cared for with great effort by family members who poured their feelings and respect for the deceased into them. So when a family sees a grave deteriorating or no longer intact, they likely can't help but feel sad and regretful. Vietnamese people may use fruit, sweets, or other simple offerings to place on a grave when burning incense for a loved one. This is a way of expressing remembrance, gratitude, and affection for those who have passed away. After arriving, the family will burn incense to show their reverence, remember the deceased, and wish them peaceful rest. Before lighting incense, people usually light the tips of the incense sticks to create a flame, then gently place them on the altar or grave with sincere reverence.
The small flame from the incense sticks, along with the gentle rising smoke, creates a quiet and solemn atmosphere. For Vietnamese people, the incense smoke is not just a ritual, but also a way of conveying remembrance, unspoken words, and feelings for the departed. Before lighting incense, many Vietnamese people often stand silently before the grave, quietly speaking to and sharing words they never got to say to the deceased. These might be greetings, words of thanks, or simply updates about what has happened in life, as if the loved one is still always listening and watching over the family. Some graves have herbicide sprayed on them by family members to keep the area clean, tidy, and easy to maintain and visit. Other graves receive little care because the children and grandchildren have to work far away and don't have the chance to return often. Over time, weeds grow wild and many parts fall into disrepair. The road here is a dirt path that villagers created themselves over many years, making it easier to travel and visit the cemetery. You'll also come across graves painted in bright, vivid colors. This is how some families maintain, renovate, and show their respect for their loved one's resting place. You'll also see smaller-sized graves. In many cases, these are the resting places of young children or infants who passed away very early in life. During the day, this place feels peaceful and calm, But when night falls, the space becomes deserted and silent, making many people feel a bit of a chill. This is a double tomb, where a husband and wife rest together. According to the beliefs of many Vietnamese families, being buried together expresses the hope that they will continue to accompany each other, even after life has ended. When visiting graves, many Vietnamese people also light an extra incense stick for nearby graves, especially ones that receive few visitors. This is a gesture of respect, compassion, and a wish for the departed to rest in peace. In many rural areas of Vietnam, family members are often buried in the same area. So each time a family visits one relative's grave, they will also stop to light incense and remember other graves of grandparents, parents, or relatives resting nearby. In front of the tombs, you may sometimes come across certain animals that commonly appear in this area. In the beliefs of many Vietnamese people, some species are seen as symbols of good luck and carry spiritual meaning, so their presence is often regarded as a good sign. This grave was recently renovated and repainted by the family, so it still looks clean, neat, and very carefully maintained. If you'd like, you can also light a stick of incense in front of this grave as a way of showing respect and remembrance for the deceased. The stone tablet usually has the name, birth year, death year, and a few lines of remembrance engraved on it, so that future generations know who is resting here and can preserve their memory. Some graves are painted with additional colorful accents, both to add a formal touch and to show the care and affection the family has for their loved one's resting place. Next to some graves, you might come across belongings or items associated with the deceased. The family places them there as a way of preserving memories and expressing their feelings for their loved one. In some cemeteries in Vietnam, there are also plots of land that living people or families prepare in advance as future resting places. This is quite common in some localities, so that family members can be buried near one another and to ease the burden on their children and grandchildren later on. You'll also come across graves that have been built with a roof cover. This helps protect the grave from rain and sun, while also creating a more solemn and convenient space for the family whenever they come to visit. What's special is that lanterns are hung underneath the tomb's roof and solar-powered lights are installed, making this place glow brightly when night falls. Given the scale and level of investment here, many people believe that the deceased's family is fairly well off. Whether a grave is beautiful or simple, the most precious thing is always the love and devotion that family members hold for the departed. In the mountains, bees can build their nests almost anywhere, from tall tree branches, steep cliffs, to even structures built by humans. The plants here grow completely wild. Even though many of the fruits look very appealing, I still advise you not to eat them unless you're certain they're safe. Some plots of land may still appear empty, but they are by no means unclaimed. They have already been reserved by local people in advance as future resting places for themselves or their loved ones. They are willing to spend money building fences to mark off and hold on to the land set aside for their family. Some graves are worth as much as a house, up to about 750 million dong, equivalent to nearly 29,000 US dollars. This grave was built very elegantly, with a surrounding railing system, looking just like a miniature architectural structure.
Perhaps, for poor farmers like me, this is nothing less than an entire fortune, something that could take a lifetime of hard work and saving to achieve. As evening approaches, the surroundings become quieter. The fading light and the long rows of trees and stone memorials create a peaceful yet mysterious atmosphere that can make many visitors feel a sense of awe. Nearby stand two beautifully crafted stone memorials. They were likely prepared in advance for a husband and wife, allowing them to be remembered together by future generations. Built mainly from natural stone, these memorials reflect both timeless beauty and remarkable durability. Through these simple scenes, we can better understand the traditions and values of Vietnamese families. They carefully preserve these memorials as a way of honoring their ancestors and expressing gratitude to those who came before them. No matter how much time passes, the values of family, gratitude, and respect for previous generations continue to be passed down from one generation to the next.